Wow, one step ahead.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports One. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports 4 here on a Wednesday. Yes. Tony's favorite day of the week. Zach is back, and Michael and Renee lurking. Gaming quarter later. Everybody's pumped for that.
Oh, yeah, dude.
But welcome back, Zach. How's it going?
Good. How about you?
Pretty good. Can't complain. You have a good holiday?
Yes, definitely. Great holiday, great Christmas, great New Year's. Saw some friends on New Year's, so that was good. And I was with my family on Christmas. So
Tell Brian what you got for Christmas.
Oh, yeah. I got a nice Juan Soto hoodie for Christmas.
Wow.
Not to rub it in.
I mean, that would be great for you, and I would burn it at the stake if it was for me. So, and it's just funny how that stuff works, Have you been watching all of the college football playoff?
Yes, I have.
Really?
I've been watching all the games. I was kind of pissed at Oregon because I had money on them.
Me too. Luckily, I kind of canceled out because I had over 1.5 passing touchdowns for Dylan Gabriel. Couldn't believe that they got shit on like that, though. That was crazy.
Yeah, my brother is an Oregon fan, so
Yeah,
so we're kind of used to this now. Every big game that they've ever been in, they basically shit themselves. So yeah.
Well, but it's funny though going into that game. I mean, Ohio State kind of had that narrative under Ryan Day, but they completely flipped the script. And I don't know. I mean, I guess I didn't pay attention to college football as much as I should have this year, but I don't know how I didn't know anything about Smith. Now it's like this guy is going to be the number 1 pick in the draft in a couple years.
people are loving him, dude. Yeah, it's wild. How did your brother become an Oregon fan?
Mariota?
Yeah.
Really?
Mariota back then, but even way before then. Honestly, I think it was just because they were the cool team back then.
The jerseys, everybody loves the jerseys.
Oh yeah, the Ducks.
Yeah.
It's funny. There were definitely a few good games. The Texas Arizona State game was crazy.
Yeah.
But we were talking about it the other day, and I don't know if you watched it, but I think out of all of the college football, the FCS championship game was the best game that I've seen.
I did not watch it, but I watched the semifinals. Actually, I should have watched the championship.
Yeah.
Both semifinals, or
just one? I think it was the North Dakota.
North Dakota State.
Yeah.
They're just a legendary program in that level. And that game, I watched the whole thing. But for them to have a 21-3 lead and then it ended up being a 3-point game at the end, going against an undefeated team and them going for their 10th title, the other team had 1 in 40 years. It was something, honestly, for that level, because there's the stigma I don't want to watch this. This is high school football.
Yeah.
But these guys are good, and especially those two programs. I think it's just more of them not wanting to, but they would be welcomed with open arms at the FBS level if they wanted it.
Yeah, I've kind of thought about that because they have been dominant for so long.
Yeah.
Watching them growing up too. So it's I don't know. They definitely could make the jump. I'm sure they don't want to though, because they'll just keep dominating down there.
And I don't look at the attendance numbers, but I'm sure the Fargo Dome there. I think it holds 19,000. I'm sure they sell it all the time.
Yeah.
You look at the history of the coaches going back 50, 60 years. Everybody's winning percentage is well over 600. So it's to go from there and then what are you gonna be? I mean, you're gonna go to the Mountain West and and then they were saying too the travel that they would have to pay for.
Yeah.
I think they're just good where they are. I mean, the fact that they've won 10 championships since 2011 is nuts.
Yeah.
It's all right.
So I really enjoyed that, and our viewers enjoyed that video as well.
Yeah,
honestly.
dude. I guess I don't know if it was North Dakota or Montana. I don't know, but obviously some prideful fans there, and it should be interesting. I would imagine. I mean, not a lot of people, I guess, around here talking about it. So I don't know.
Or just in general, if you compare the people talking about the college football playoff to that. So it's they're taking what they can get. And hey, listen, if I have to do a meet and greet in North Dakota, I definitely will. We want to go go to
Let's
the Fargo
go,
Dome,
dude.
though.
I'm down. Yeah, I'd be sick, dude.
Zach's down too.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, definitely pretty cool. So much to get to. But we got
yeah,
a bunch
dude.
of comments. Tony's earning for
Oh,
him,
yeah,
or-
dude. I'll get through some comments. Let's freaking
Got
go,
you.
dude. Top of the morning here. Matthew Gabriel, a nice, healthy, here we go, dude. The come on. Let's go, boys. He says, hot stove. It's muy caliente. And from red hot to ice cold. Rangers suck ass, he says. Michael Buckta, dude. Can't wait for tonight. Let's go, dude. The big gaming corner also has got some UConn basketball tonight. UConn by 9, he says.
Is there a coincidence that he said that,
9,
though?
dude. I would imagine he knows what he's doing, right? He knows what he's doing.
No, but I'm saying you're saying that he said it because we always say
Yeah,
9.
yeah, absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
One step ahead of you, Michael.
And then Josh B in the house says, happy Thirsty Thursday. Uh-oh. Fan. Josh.
Get
maybe
the
hitting
White
the
Claw.
bottle a little bit too early, dude.
That pen, dude.
And then happy birthday to my wife, Noelia, dude.
Happy birthday to Noelia.
But is it her birthday? Does he think it's Thursday? Is her birthday on Thursday? I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Right, Dad?
No, I just completely missed the whole Thursday thing, honestly, when you said that.
I would maybe think he just forgot what day it was.
Yeah, he forgot what date it was. It's definitely her birthday.
Definitely is her birthday, January 8th. I would imagine the date,
But
is
they had
seared
a
in his head,
dinner
dude. A while ago.
I don't know if it was a while ago. It was like a couple days ago.
A couple days ago? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
they
nice.
went to some dumpling place.
Really? That sounds
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Well, the weekday birthdays is tough,
Yeah, yeah,
because
so
you
it
got to
must have
stick
been
to
on
the
the
routine,
weekends.
dude. And then he realizes, oh, wait, it's hump day. Ha, ha, ha. That's right, dude. You know?
There he is. There he is.
Hump day, your wife's birthday. You got to step up, dude. Tommy Donovan says, yo, dude, the sadness for the Rangers is real. That's a fact. And then Josh B, sad is an understatement, dude.
Yes. And, we'll definitely get to it.
Yeah, we'll
you
get to
watched
it,
the
dude.
whole thing?
Here, yeah.
So it was like concurrently while hosting Binge Buddies.
Yeah, 7 o'clock puck drop ish, and then
Yeah.
8 o'clock was Binge Buddy. So after the first period, into the second period is when we started Binge. So we had live reactions
Yeah.
during the show, which it's whatever, I guess. But we can go in depth as we get to the hockey segment.
Yes.
But obviously, you don't feel good after a loss like that at all. Like I don't care about the offensive production. I don't care about Vinny T with the 2 goals, dude. Like a game like that, you go up 3-0, you expect to win. Like that, at the end of the day, it is what it is.
A joke.
That's
a
it.
sick joke.
It is sick.
But we'll get to it. But
Getting me
let's
sick.
start. We always do
Making
on
me sick.
Wednesdays now that
Throw
we are
up.
back on the links here for the PGA Tour golf season. By the way, though, before we get to that, I forgot to mention it yesterday, but they had the start of the TGL Simulator Golf League yesterday. Tiger.
Oh, no
Warriors
way.
League.
Oh, that's what
I
you were
didn't
talking
see
about,
any
dude.
highlights of
Okay.
it, but it did start. Did you see anything on that? Or
Yeah, actually I did. Not too much, but just on like PGA's like social media and stuff. I thought it was pretty cool, and I thought it was like cool how it's like very like laid back. Like the fans were like pretty loud, and
Yeah.
I just thought it was like a different vibe for like tournament play like that. I really liked it. So
And I'm guessing with the schedule, because like I know Lowry was playing yesterday. I forgot the other golfers, but I'm guessing they did it where like whoever is going to play isn't going to be playing in the tournament that week because it's running at the same time as the
Yeah.
season.
I guess that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But then why? Like, then you probably wouldn't want to be there, right? Like, you'd rather.
Well, I think it's like for this week, which is actually a good
Just-
segue,
okay.
the Sony Open, it's not a signature event. You've got some bigger tournaments coming up, the American Express, as well as, Pebble Beach. So, I think that's kind of the reason why. And then, you had the top golfers all play at the Century last week. So I think that's why, but it's definitely something different. One thing that I would say, and I don't know if they'll change this as time goes on, but I think they should have started that earlier. Like start it like as soon as the off season, because it's like the other tournaments and there's gaps. It just makes more sense than when there's actually golf going on. But obviously too, last night it's not like the tournament had started yet. And then you still could fly to the tournament, but that definitely seems a little rushed. But, speaking of that tournament, we have the Sony Open, which started as the Hawaiian Open November 1965. So this tournament has been around a while, has been played in its entirety at Waiala'i, which I probably am not saying right, Country Club, and it measures 7,044 yards. And the prize fund this year, an all-time high of $8.7 million, with the winner getting 1.566. And it's interesting. I know, there's a lot of golf coming up. This is just the start of the season. Guys don't want to burn out. And there are good golfers in this field like Hideki, who won last week. But it is interesting that, you have, these top golfers scoffing at the notion of playing for a tournament where you could win $1.566 million.
Well, I mean, when you get the whole season in mind, you got majors in mind,
But in Hawaii.
I know. But, I mean, I guess, again, from those perspective, I guess, of the golfers, like, hey, I've been here, I did it, it's nice. But now I'd rather, I'm looking forward to the big wins, dude. That's it,
Yeah.
Not that I agree with it necessarily. I mean, if it's my perspective, I would be golf as much as I can, to be honest. If I'm healthy and I feel good, start of the season, let's get into it. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, we talk about, the toll that these tournaments take on people, and it is significant. A lot of these golfers, the travel, the golfing all weekend is not easy by any means. So, I mean, obviously, if they don't want to do it, they don't want to do it, dude, I guess, right?
My whole thing is that I just feel like if you're already in Hawaii, though, why wouldn't you just stay over and, play a couple tournaments? You get well rested before.
Yeah.
But I guess it's just because, the upcoming schedule.
But they're West Coast, though, so it's not like it's, it's like they're going to, travelers over here.
Right, exactly.
So it's like it's not, the PGA had kind of made it so that it is doable to do that. I don't know. I mean, do you think the PGA would ever implement, you got to do this?
No, because there'll always be guys there, and then
true.
That's the freedom of playing on the PGA Tour. But
Freedom.
I guess if you look at it, the reason why also is because let's say you skip that event, but then you have the American Express, the Farmers, the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, then the Phoenix Open, then the Genesis Invitational. So, after this tournament, you have 5 tournaments where, a lot of the guys are going to want to play the majority, if not all of those. And, Pebble Beach is a signature event. The Phoenix Open isn't, but, has been one of the more popular events. And then the Genesis is also a signature event. So I think that's why. But it's a shame because I just think any tournament in Hawaii, like we talked about last week with the Century, you want to see the best golfers there to go along with the fantastic scenery we get to see on the broadcast.
Wow.
But, looking at the history of this event, last year's winner was actually, Grayson Murray, who, tragically passed away after that event last year. He won in the playoff 17 under par over An Byung-hun and Keegan Bradley. I'm sure they'll do some type of tribute on the opening tee shot for Grayson, when we get started tomorrow. In 23, Siwoo Kim won 18 under par. Hideki won back in 22, 23 under, playoff over Heenley. Kevin Na in 21 won 21 under, 1 stroke clear of Kirk and Neiman. And then Cam Smith in 2020, 11 under par, playoff over Brendan Steele. And I would imagine, without knowing specifically, that tournament, the scoring was a lot lower than the other years due to some wind, because you look at all the other years here, tons of strokes under par. JT in 2017, 27 under. Oof. Obviously, we just had Hideki win last week at 34 under. So maybe we won't quite get there, but I'm sure we'll be, several, well over, 15 under par, I would imagine anyway. So it'll be interesting to see. And you look at, who's playing this tournament. I believe it's 6 of the top 20 golfers in the world. So not horrible, but also, there's a lot of, bigger names missing as well. So, starting at the top, and, obviously he would be the tournament favorite just because he's the highest ranked at number 5 in the world, but also he just won last week, would be Hideki Matsuyama. But then you have Keegan Bradley, Sahith Theegala, Bob McIntyre, Billy Horschel, Russell Heenley, Tom Kim, Byung-hun An, former champ, of course, Maverick McNeely, Brian Harmon, Nick Dunlap, Corey Connors, JT Poston, Austin Eckroat, Sepp Straka. So some notable names there. Like I said, not the strength of last week's field, but definitely, some good golfers and some other guys, who have fallen in the rankings, but, are definitely a threat to win, like a Van Ruin or a Jake Knapp, who won the Mexico Open last year. Keith Mitchell, Brennan Todd. So there's some names, and typically you get a mix of winners, well-known versus guys that just, come out of the woodwork. So it's kind of interesting when handicapping this. There's a Thor Bjornsson sighting as well. So I know you've done a ton of research here, Tony. What do you have in mind for this tournament?
Are you being facetious on this one, Brian?
No, I know you do.
I did do a little research, honestly, and I'm pretty proud of it. But no, I think for the winner here, I'm gonna go with Keegan Bradley, dude. Let's go. I mean, you mentioned the runner-up last year. Also, the Woodstock, Vermont native has been a favorite of mine for picking the past couple of years. And we are headed back to Woodstock, Vermont, by the way, next month. So there's going to be a big year
there you go,
for
Keegan
Woodstock. Bradley. Obviously, Keegan here is great with the iron work, which is, from what I've been told, necessary for victory at a course such as this one. Also, Bradley has expressed his interest in being, I guess, a captain for the Ryder Cup. So
he is the captain.
Oh, he is going to?
He is the captain.
Okay.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, you don't remember? We talked about that. He's the youngest.
Oh,
since like Arnold
you're right.
Palmer.
You're right. Since Arnold Palmer. Yes, correct. So I think that these little, I guess you can call them ancillary events, I guess. They don't have the big fields. I would imagine he would take them as even more important because it's a good opportunity for him to get these victories. So, yeah, definitely give me Keegan Bradley. And I think did he have top 10 finish last week? I forget. Maybe top 12?
Yeah,
but he was looking pretty good, obviously. Good form last week. So, let's freaking go. I think he can handle it. And I would say if he needs to win, if he is going to win, he's going to need a score of 20 under, I'm going to say. Because it does seem like there's going to be some significant wind and maybe a little bit colder than they anticipated.
15th, tied for 15th.
Tied for 15th.
Yeah.
So there we go. Off to a good start. Getting it going, dude, for the native of Vermont. And then I guess if you ask me for a sleeper, and this may be kind of far out there, but shout out to an article I read on Golf Digest, dude. A lot of guys are hot on this amateur, Brian, Luke Clanton.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Apparently, dude, that this guy has been killing it. Again, going back to the iron work, has had some of the best, shots with his irons for any amateur they've been seeing. The 21-year-old out of Florida State has had 8 PGA events, Brian. 4 of them are top 10s.
That's unbelievable.
So he's been obviously, he has the ability, it seems. He has the youth, the stamina, the determination. So I would say he's my sleeper. I think he's plus 3,000 odds, I think.
So put a couple shekels.
Put a couple shekels. It's going to be a good payday, dude. And I'll stick with it. I mean, we're looking at 20 under, I think, would be your victor. 21 under around that.
That, historically,
yeah.
That would definitely make sense. That's for sure. I'm going to go with a guy who didn't have as high of a finish last week as Keegan, but still finished the tournament strong, blew up the first day with a 76, but then was 68, 67, 66. And that's going to be Sahith Theegala, always one of our favorites here. And it just feels like this could be the year, that he, finally really breaks through. You look at his season last year. He had 2 runner-ups, 9 top 10s, and he made 22 cuts out of 26 events played. And he finished second at last year's Century, was cut at this tournament, but, I don't know if that's really going to carry over. And then, you look at the end of his year, you had a 3rd at the Tour Championship, and then in the fall season, he was 7th at the Pro Tour and 8th at the Hero World Challenge. So he's a competitor.
There you go.
We've seen him come up, close to the top, in these bigger events, and I think this is the year he breaks through. Who knows? Maybe he wins a tournament like the Players or one of the signature events, or dare we say, the Masters or another major. I could really see it happening, and I'm going to say he's going to be 21 under par, so just a little higher up on the leaderboard there than Keegan at 20, and then a sleeper here. The Bowls, looking at all the golfers, big fields here, of course. But I'm gonna say, give me
Harry English,
Matt Kuchar, the grizzled vet. Kind of had a renaissance a little bit last year. Didn't make the playoffs, but made a late push. And right now he's ranked 124th in the world, but can still strike it with the best of them. And I think a wide open course bodes well, Tony, for his golf game. So
yeah, definitely.
Let's go with Kuchar. Any thoughts for you here, Zach?
I wish I could say I did some research on this, but I've been kind of out of the golf loop recently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough from the off season, and you're kind of getting tossed in here. A lot going on around sports.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes kind of miss it. There's no Scotty.
But there is a Decky.
There is a Decky. The Decky's pretty hot right now, dude.
I wanted to pick him, but it just didn't. Taking someone to win back-to-back, I mean, how many times does that actually happen?
I know, but damn, dude, he played really great.
Yeah, he did.
Last week. So I'm not, he's favored, I imagine, right? He's favored, yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's like that far-fetched if we do. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if we see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just looking here. Because I see ESPN Plus Thursday, but why do I not see
ESPN Plus on Thursday?
View all? No, this is videos.
ESPN Plus on Thursday, Golf Channel on Thursday, Sirius XM on Thursday. How to watch, it says.
But I don't know if were you looking at the PGAtour.com?
Yeah.
It didn't seem like it was on Golf Channel.
No.
Watch Sony Open.
Can I do? Oh, it's a Friday.
7 to 10:30 on golf.
Okay.
The first two rounds, final 2 days, 4 o'clock on NBC, Golf Channel 6 to 8, and then the PGA Tour live coverage from 12 to 7. So
that's nice.
So you got some windows there. And again, anytime we're looking at a tournament in Hawaii, it's definitely always interesting to take a look. Just the scenery is just spectacular, and really, I feel second to none out there. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure, dude. And I'll definitely be hitting up some featured groups. I think on ESPN Plus tomorrow, dude.
Yeah,
Keaton Bradley.
Yeah, why not?
Let's go, dude.
So yeah, looking forward to that, and like I had said before, we got some bigger tournaments coming up. But let's take a quick. Jeez.
Oh, Tiffany's,
let's take a quick
dude.
sip. All right, let's take a quick trip to the world of the National Football League.
He wants Jefferson, climbs the ladder. Oh my goodness! Justin Jefferson, the catch of his life.
Burrow fires, intercepted, picked off at a pick six. Minka Fitzpatrick, an absolute ball hawk.
Niners twist up front and get to Tagovailoa. Bosa again. Mahomes escaping on the move, stops, spins, flips it forward for the touchdown.
Stop it.
Aaron Jones. Oh, what a tackle. Quincy Williams with a pile driver.
Mike and I yesterday had an afternoon donated coffee that really hit good.
I think, though, I question, Tony, because I know you're big with the sugar. You having it without sugar, I think you would say differently. I think that's what it is. I think the sugar is what carries you through. Yes.
Yeah, obviously.
When was the last time you had a coffee without sugar? Don't think about it.
Well, I mean, I guess technically I had an Irish coffee over the break, New Year's.
But for you, is it literally
No
like
sugar.
you want to spit it out, like without sugar?
No, I can get through it. I mean, I've drinking worse things than I've had a black cup of coffee before. It's not it's not horrible, but obviously if I have sugar available, like why would I just put sugar in it?
Why do you need it?
It tastes good, dude.
And you're always going with the hot coffee.
Yeah.
Is it like you dislike the iced coffee? Like, do you ever feel like an iced coffee?
No, yeah, I do. Every so often, if it's really hot, refreshing, I guess, whatever. But that's very, very rare, I suppose. I don't know, because I drink coffee as like a utility. I don't drink it because I enjoy it. I drink it because it caffeinates me. So, like, I'll have a cup of coffee over like 5 hours.
Right, but I'm saying
So
you're
if
obviously. Oh no, sorry.
Well, I'm saying if I get a nice coffee within 5 hours, it's water. It's water. It's because the ice melts, and then I'm like, now this is actually disgusting. I don't want it.
But also, though, aren't you having the coffee because you enjoy the taste because of the sugar, the French vanilla?
Well, yeah, and I enjoy the way the coffee is made, no doubt. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying, I don't slam a coffee. I drink it slow, dude. By the time I honestly am finishing the coffee, it is cold. Iced
I am
by
curious.
itself.
Like, I just have a feeling like I know I'm just like, how would I know we haven't done this? But I just have a feeling if I brought one of these in, like no matter what, you'd just be like, dude, it's just not the same, dude.
Probably. Dude.
Oh man, but I still want to put it to the test, to be honest.
What about you though? Do you because you were hot yesterday, right? Did you go hot yesterday?
That no, that I
was
think
a couple
it was
days ago?
2 days ago.
ago.
Yeah, and like I said, it
But do you just mix and match, or what's the deal with that?
No, I'm basically all ice, but I just you know why I got hot at Donut Inn? Because I've had ice there before, and I like because I was comparing it to this, just not good. And I just feel like I want cinnamon with my iced coffee. You know what I mean?
Oh, right,
and I just
have the cinnamon.
see that.
Yeah.
For a place like what are you doing? Like, I mean, what cinnamon? You can't buy it in bulk? Restaurant Depot? Like,
yeah, no, I mean, I feel like that's not, that's a pretty common thing to have at a coffee shop, right? Is you'll sprinkle a little cinnamon in there.
Yeah.
But whatever.
All I have to say is though, I highly recommend anybody in the Stratford area, Tiffany's Place, great customer service. They
don't even ask you what you want, just give it to you.
Exactly. But the only thing that's tough with that, and John ran into this at Donut Delight, is sometimes if you do want something different, you really can't.
Yeah, dude. I know it's tough. I ran into that same problem there when I was living in Stratford. And then what happens if I want to order?
You want food?
You want some food? Want a bagel? Have a sandwich? Their sandwiches, I mean, they're
it's
not terrible.
I want to try everything, but especially it's just tough because I only go there during the week. So during the week, I'm trying to like kind of recover from the eating over the weekend. So that's why I don't usually get anything or ever. I've never gotten any food there, but I'm sure it's good. But we'll put it to the test. I do want to see, even though I know like what the response is going to be. I think you're going to be surprised though, at the same time. I think maybe not like you're not going to be elated, but I think it'll be a lot better than what you're imagining.
So Simply Nutty almond milk, or
Simply Nutty cream, and cinnamon.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I thought you were doing the almond milk.
So that was I was trying to see if it was any better at Donut Inn, but it was still watery. Yeah.
Wild stuff.
Now, is it so when you order it though at Donut Inn, you just say sweet and light?
Well, actually, recently Mike and I have been doing just cream and sugar, not light and sweet. Just cream and sugar.
What's the difference?
Well, cream and sugar as opposed to almond milk and sugar.
Oh, no. But what's light and sweet versus cream and sugar? Is there any difference or no?
Oh, well, light and sweet is just like more sugar, more of the cream.
Oh.
So it's the amount of. So if I like, I want cream and sugar, they just put the normal amount. But if I go light and sweet, they put more cream, more sugar.
Gotcha.
And I've watched them fucking put sugar in the cup for light and sweet, and it's like, it's a lot of sugar.
No, I swear, I think, I know it sounds crazy because you obviously have it with sugar every time. Like if they accidentally put sugar in, like I don't even want to drink it.
Really?
Like, I think it's disgusting.
That's crazy. So
like,
you know what I'm gonna do?
I think you'll like mine better than that. Honestly, I get the sugar. I don't know. It just feels like there's just no need for it, dude. That's just how I feel. But we'll definitely put it to the test. I forgot, Zach. I'm sure I've asked you before, but do you drink coffee or
no?
No coffee?
No, not a big coffee drinker. I'm
okay.
Occasionally, like I'll get like an iced coffee at Dunkin', but like they load that up.
Oh
with
my
sugar
god,
too.
dude!
Like,
Dunkin'.
It's like, by the time I'm halfway through it, I'm like, I should have just gotten a small. Like this is like too much sugar.
Over or under 5 black coffees you've had in your life?
Over.
But you for you is it
7.
like pretty gross or no?
It's just like why? Like why would I why am I doing this?
It's interesting. I think it's very disgusting hot, but iced, like not that I prefer it that way, but I don't think it's like bad. Like it's not like disgusting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean I guess it isn't disgusting, but again, if I have, I guess I'll have to drink it if I do. Like again, like I guess it doesn't really. An Irish coffee.
Just trying to get your sugar levels down to it.
No, yeah, you're trying to help me out. I appreciate it, dude. But I don't know, man. I'll try it. I'll try my best here because I've had Donut Inn coffee without sugar, and I'm like.
But you know what it is with this though? It feels, and like I said, I could be completely wrong, but just a guess here that it feels like asking you to do the Connecticut New York pizza test. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm setting myself up here.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I think that I don't know why you don't. I think I will realize there's no sugar. Like, I'm gonna taste no sugar.
I don't know, but there's just something about the cinnamon and then the flavor of the Simply Nutty. Have you gotten?
I've gotten Simply Nutty before. Yeah.
What was your thoughts on it?
Oh, it's great. No, it's delicious. I enjoy it, but
Yeah.
just French vanilla is my favorite. I've tried a couple other ones too, especially the holiday ones. They have like the eggnog one, or they've had the pumpkin spice for whatever.
I just don't, and I guess this is why I wasn't like a science major or anything. I don't get how they do it without any sugar and like how there's no bad stuff. I don't understand that.
I think Mike explained it to me one day years ago. It's how they roast the beans.
Okay.
Because they don't again, Dunkin', they'll put that fucking sugar shit in there, the syrup.
The pump. Oh, you want
Oh my
pump,
god, yeah.
dude?
How many pumps do you want, dude? Get the fuck out of here, dude. So again, I mean, hey, listen, wherever they get their beans from, obviously they know what they're doing. So.
So before we talk a little football here, a couple more comments I see.
Oh yes, dude. We have a couple more comments.
Michael himself.
Yes, Michael is himself here, and he says in terms of the Rangers, I believe he says no, but the team needs to stay the same.
A little shot at you.
I guess a shot at me. I mean, did I ever say the team needs to stay the same? Not necessarily. I just think that you shouldn't have to trade everyone away right now.
Yeah.
Because I think that's stupid, dude. I mean, it's not. I mean, again, we can get into it more. I don't know. I mean, listen, obviously you want to look at this season as a big picture here. It's so far been a failure. But, I look at these games individually. I look at each little thing that's happening. And I don't know. I feel like for hockey especially, it's about doing those little things right, which obviously the Rangers did last season. So, for me, it's more about trying to figure out why they're not doing that again. And if it is a locker room issue, then
such a weak excuse, though. It's like
a locker room issue.
So
It doesn't make any
annoying.
sense, dude.
Yeah.
Especially, I understand. It's a team sport. Obviously, you want to have the best team chemistry you can. But you're trying to tell me that a team with as much talent as this, which with as much hype and aspirations as this, like you're fumbling it because of a locker room issue, doesn't make any sense.
You can't handle it, dude. You can't handle it.
It doesn't make any sense at all. Now I'm not saying don't do anything. I mean, they have to have some significant changes at defense, I think. I mean, not for nothing. I mean, you were scoring a ton on Dallas last night. That's great, dude. I mean, that's something that the Rangers should have. That was their one thing they struggled to do last season at times. They would go through stretches where they couldn't score, So that happens to teams, whatever. It's those bad defensive plays, it's those little things, losing battles against the boards, stupid turnovers. Those little things you have to fix up. And then once you start doing those little things correct again, that's when you start seeing better results. And if that means, trading away Miller because he's been absolute dog shit on defense, bringing in other players like Will Borgen who've been doing well.
He looks good.
He looks great, dude. I like him a lot, dude.
How's Foxy looked?
He's good. Defensively, he's solid. Offensively, I forget what stat they showed, but he had another assist last night, and I think he's like top whatever all time in assists for Rangers defensemen.
Oh, for defensemen.
Yeah, for defensemen specifically.
Obviously behind Leach.
Yeah, of course. And then he's bringing things to the table. I mean, he's nobody he's not somebody you're gonna want to move, certainly. But you want to bring in guys who are better on defense. It seems like there's like a communication issue even because it's just like, again, those stupid turnovers or just not being able to handle the puck well enough or keeping possession. It seems like a lot of those issues are what cause, odd man rushes on the opposite end and then goals given up and then evidently losses.
Dave was talking about a lot of open lanes, guys standing around. And obviously I know only one of these guys is a defenseman, but just thinking about it, I feel like see what you can get, separately together, however you need to do it. But for Miller, Kreider, and Zibanejad, honestly, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I
think that obviously you have to. At this point, you have to put some package together. Because last night was like gut wrenching.
Yeah,
gut wrenching, dude.
And then what else we got here?
Yes, we have Kev Dude,
Mr. Dude.
Let's go, he says. We want the smoke. And then it says the effing Rangers. Matthew Gabriel saying what up to Josh, what up to Kev Dude. Matthew Ryan, of course, says Rangers lost. LOL, whatever. Matthew. And then Ernie says, yeah. What's up, gentlemen?
So always
What's
good
up,
to hear from Ernie.
It is, dude.
And I'm sure he is
Ernie from Kearney.
Anxious to get that playoff game. I think it's on Sunday afternoon in Philadelphia between the Packers and the Eagles. Maybe he's making the trip. Opportunity for him, right?
A fan of his caliber, right?
Yeah. And Matthew says Rangers are not making the playoffs. I mean, obviously the way they're playing right now, it doesn't look like that. But like we're talking about, we're hoping moves are on the horizon.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, obviously, it would be interesting too. I mean, we'll talk about it, I guess, when we get to the hockey, whatever, dude.
So just a couple NFL things I wanted to mention. The biggest news from yesterday post show, and we had talked about this, all week. But the Raiders making the move to fire Antonio Pierce. after the 4-13 season. His first full as head coach, took over as the interim last year. They keep former Chargers general manager and their general manager, Tom Telesco, in that position. So yeah, I mean, I definitely, I know there's been a lot of turnover there, but what I would say, because I think it's something like 3 out of the last 5 coaches haven't lasted more than one season, or a coach hasn't lasted more than one season since 2011, I think they said, as the Raiders head coach. Didn't seem like it was going to work with Pierce, but this is such an important hire right now. And I think because there's been a lot of first-time head coaches. I know McDaniels technically was second, but he hadn't coached in a while, and it was a disaster before. And sure, there was Gruden, but he was the outlier. I think you need to get a experienced head coach here. It doesn't matter if it's going to be a young team next year. Maybe even do the draft and bridge situation, especially if you're not going to be able to get one of the top 2 quarterbacks. But somebody who could just change the culture and just be patient with them. Al Davis wasn't patient. Mark Davis is showing the same colors. But I think this Raiders organization just needs some stability. And let Telesco hire whoever he's comfortable with. But that's how I think you turn this thing around. It's just be patient with this guy and get away from the inexperience, because clearly that isn't working.
Yeah, no, that's true. I guess. I guess the inexperience maybe was what I guess was the demise of Pierce. Because talk about the culture and the energy. I look back to his first win. Last season, dude. It seemed like that locker was almost going to be turned around, celebrating in the locker room after the game for Antonio Pierce's first win. And it's I don't know. Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, you do need someone maybe who's just more experienced with, creating a culture in a locker room for a professional team. But I don't know. Do you think firing him was the right move?
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. You don't think after some time he can develop the team?
No. I know they won those games late in the year, but it was a mess all season. And like I said, I just think, especially if you're gonna have a younger team, I think having a young coach, that's how things get out of hand.
Yeah, true.
Because you don't have someone who's stern and sets the tone. So kind of what my thoughts are there. I was just gonna ask, what do you think, Zach? Do you think that was the right move, and what do you think about what they should do moving forward?
I think it was. I hate to see so much turnover with coaches, just constantly getting fired year after year, but I think in their situation it makes sense because they're really going to have to choose wisely who they hire next, because they're going into a draft year where they're probably going to select a quarterback, so that's going to be a decision that the head coach is making along with the GM, so I think you all want to be on the same page there. But yeah, I think they had to do it. Like you said, it was a total mess there all year. Going to a game, seeing it firsthand, what a disaster it was. It's you gotta make that change for sure.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see who they bring in. I haven't really seen a list of candidates that they're interested in, but I think that would be the way to go. So we'll see who they decide to give a shot. Ernie also says Packers +3, and unfortunately no. Recovering from Christmas in Disney still.
That'll do
LOL. Also cashed out on the ticket from Sunday $350. So glad he got something.
Yeah.
After Jameson Williams got nothing in terms of touchdowns. Obviously we're gonna do our picks on Friday, but we kind of already talked about it. On Monday, the playoff matchups and stuff. Questioning. I know it's from the heart here with Ernie.
Oh, it is.
But the +3. It's just. Things are just not trending in the right direction. I think the future's bright, but it just seems like, especially with the injury, with Love, even if he does play, he's compromised. And then in Philadelphia, I just don't see it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It just seems, like you said, the future is obviously still bright, but what a freaking roadblock, they're going to be hitting.
Yeah.
This weekend. So, I'm not going to count on that, obviously, but it's definitely going to be tough, dude.
Yeah. What about you, Zach? Do you kind of agree with us, or you have any different thoughts on that game?
No, not really. I think the Eagles are a freight train in the NFC right now. And I've seen a lot of people who are like, oh, they're going to crash and burn. But, this is obviously a very different Eagles team this year with Saquon and the bolstered secondary. So, I think the Packers will make it close, but I think overall it's probably going to be Philly. Yeah.
And you gotta love, dude, the enthusiasm from Ernie here. He says we are playing the media, gonna do the impossible. Eagles, then Detroit, then Minnesota.
And listen, I'm not gonna say that I wouldn't or haven't, said something similar, about like the Yankees, for instance. So you understand it and you respect it.
Yeah,
and
you gotta.
I'm sure. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't realize it, but there's no coincidence here, Ernie. This is from a Packers tailgate, Packers Chiefs last year, the best live football game I've ever witnessed. So that was a great one. So I'm rooting for it. I'm just saying it just doesn't seem like it's happening, but let's see what happens, right?
Yeah, dude. I mean, you can dream.
Yeah. And I was looking at this. I thought the record would be better, and obviously they used to play at Veterans Stadium, but the Eagles all-time at Lincoln Financial Field in the postseason 8-4. So 2-to-1 win ratio. But for some reason it just seemed higher, and I think someone had mentioned this. I don't know if it was on a radio show I was listening to or whatnot, but it just seems like that's going to be a tough task, and obviously Barkley will be, well rested for this one. And also ESPN.com, I don't know if he did something different with the odds, but they're saying Philly is a 4.5-point favorite.
Oh, yeah?
But I don't know if it's again, and if I click into it, and then it's 3. No, it's saying 4.5. It's saying they started at 3.5, but now it's moved to 4.5. Zach, what's your thoughts on if you had to give us a upset this wild card weekend? Anything you have your eye on with these games?
I really like the Commanders. I don't know though. It's going to be a really close game, but I think that the Commanders and the Bucs are very similar, and I think they have a better defense than Tampa, so I could see it.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean Daniels has been unbelievable.
Yeah.
The running, the throwing, like you said, their defense, it's great.
And one thing that's a shame too is the matchup that Denver has, because their defense has been one of the best, all season. But it just seems like that's the common thought process, that it's just like, maybe too, like beginning of the game they keep it tight, but it just feels like the Bills Mafia, Josh Allen, the weather, it's just going to be too much for him. It feels like any rookie quarterback as well.
Yeah. I think the Broncos. I mean, I like to make fun of Sean Payton because he left.
Oh,
left us out
right.
dry. So like, I poke fun at him when he's not doing too great, like with Russ and all that. But he's really turning around, and Bo Nix was his handpicked guy, and it seemed to work out for him really well. So I mean, you can't not be impressed by that. I mean,
quite the turnaround.
Yeah, they're probably gonna lose on Sunday or Saturday. Are they playing?
I think it's Sunday. I think
the 12th, which is Sunday. 1 o'clock.
But yeah, I still think, all in all, you have to be impressed with the season they put together, but the Bills are probably going to win, in my opinion.
Yeah, you would think. Allen jacked up.
Yeah, dude.
And then just a couple other things I wanted to mention before we move along here. Nick Sorensen out as Niners defensive coordinator. I think they were saying they were like 29th in scoring defense this year, which is obviously well below their standards. In second straight year, they fired the coordinator. Wilkes was the coordinator last year. And they had some trouble in the postseason at times. So that's why they made that move. And I guess he's going to get some head coaching interviews, which I think is just ridiculous. Maybe teams doing due diligence.
Jets.
But Saleh supposedly, I think, is getting a New England interview. But it's like there's no way he's getting that job or any job. But what I was getting at is I could see him just sliding right back into that role. I'm sure he would love to go back to San Francisco, Robert Saleh.
Oh, yeah, definitely, dude. You can't see him getting a head coaching job?
That's like saying right now that the Rangers are going to win 10 in a row, Tony. Come on. Like, no one is going anywhere near Saleh. I think it's as likely as Gerard Mayo or Antonio Pierce getting a job this cycle.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, you really think so?
Oh no. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. If I was an organization, I would probably interview the guy, especially if I was the Patriots. To be honest,
I've seen a lot of coaching cycles. It's clear as day. Sure, maybe he's not in Adam Gase territory,
right?
But he needs some years as a defensive coordinator again before he has a chance.
No, yeah, that's true. I mean, it's just interesting because I mean, if you want to really think about his scenario with the Jets too, I mean, it wasn't optimal for him.
Right.
And not for nothing, when they did fire him, they got worse. Like, they got a lot worse.
Yeah, but I think the problem was, and to me it was very evident from day one, it just didn't feel like he had command of the locker
No,
room.
yeah, I totally agree.
And if you're a head coach, you can't be weak.
But is that like do you think like him and Rodgers?
Started before Rodgers. Though,
Yeah, I guess so.
with Zach Wilson, and then like the whole just the way he handled that with like, oh yeah, we love Zach. Like Zach's gonna be like it just
I
like
know,
it was
dude,
so
all bad.
it was
so
just
bad,
not
dude.
handled properly.
Benched him. He's fucking Zach Wilson's throwing everyone on the bus. Whatever, dude.
He was just always talking out of his ass. He just did not do a good job.
But honestly, I don't know, man. I it's tough, dude. It's Woody.
Yeah, but and also we're talking about, I think, what is it, 6 openings, I believe, right? Because
well, now with
I think that
Pierce,
was with
that's 6. Yeah,
right? Because the Raiders, the Bears, the Patriots, the Jets, the Saints,
the Jags,
and then are we missing one? That's 6.
I don't think so, right?
I think that's it, right, Zach?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, Zach?
Because
Trying to think.
No, me too, dude.
I'm just looking at the teams here.
Yeah.
No, that's definitely the scenario.
Tennessee.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That's the scenario.
Which is, I think they were thinking 9 or 10, originally. So
Yeah, I
6
remember
isn't as many.
that.
So I mean, especially with 6, no way, Salah. Any thoughts? I was suggesting, Zach, Joe Brady, the Buffalo offensive coordinator for the Jets, because I just think, we've had so many defensive coaches other than, of course, oh, great, we had Adam Gase, the offensive wizard. But I just think he could develop a rookie quarterback. I would love to see that. They've talked about Rex, and while he's getting everyone jacked up, it just doesn't seem like that's the right thing to do either. Any thought on who you could see that working out the best for the Jets?
I don't have anybody specifically, but I would lean towards somebody who's more offensively minded, just because it's kind of the same situation as the Raiders. It's like you're going to be going into drafting and developing a quarterback, and you really need somebody who's going to be able to do that. You can't, you could theoretically get another defensive-minded coach, but for their situation, it would benefit them to get somebody who's more offensively minded for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And then a couple from Ernie. He says, we playing the oh no, he already said that, but he said realistically we lose, but I'm gonna just hope and pray LFMAO. And then he says Steelers win. That's my
that
upset.
would be crazy.
Imagine going money line there as a 9.5-point dog on the road.
Gosh.
And then Michael Theobald says, Robert could be the head coach of Ludlow High. And that's about it. He knows. Michael knows. I'm proud that he knows. That's for sure. And then I just also was going to mention the Cowboys. We talked about this yesterday, denying the McCarthy interview request from the Bears. You would think that means that he's coming back. Me and Tony have kind of thought that all along. Or do you think the same, Zach? Or
I hope he comes back, because I heard the Saints were interested, and I want nothing to do with him. I want nothing to do with Mike McCarthy. So please stay, hang out there in Dallas. But yeah, I'm sure he'll come back, just because of I feel like Jerry's big on relationships with coaches, like
Jason Garrett, his son.
Yeah, he doesn't.
That's what. Seriously, he said that before.
Yeah.
Jason.
He's not quick to fire coaches. He really lets it play out until it's a dumpster fire, basically. So yeah.
So I saw that, and then I guess they're saying Brian Flores is going to take every interview request. Obviously, he's the former Dolphins coach and current defensive coordinator of Minnesota. And I heard this on DNR this morning. Ryan Fitzpatrick, I guess, had played under Flores and didn't have the best things to say about him, which is interesting, just in terms of player relationships, management, and with Tua specifically, because he had told the organization that he wanted to draft Justin Herbert, so that kind of created that whole rift. And then, of course, we know about the lawsuit, with the NFL and supposedly not wanting to tank when the Dolphins wanted to. He's doing a good job with that defense. It's just going to be interesting to see, if teams are leery because of these things, or I guess, I could see it more being a team that just wants to really pride itself on defense and feel he would take the next step. But it seems like it's very wishy-washy if he's going to actually get, an offer this cycle.
And you think it's because of the defensive mind?
Defensive mind, and then the whole Miami situation, and then the lawsuit. I mean, that's kind of.
Oh yeah, true.
The owners, obviously. I mean, they all work together. They all have the same goals in mind. So you have someone who sued the league. I don't know, as the head coach.
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, legally, you can't be like blackballed for that.
No,
right?
but I mean, we've seen, especially like what Kraft did with Belichick.
Oh yeah,
I know
yeah,
Belichick
true.
would have been hired. I'm telling you, like Robert.
Yeah,
is definitely like working with Tony Soprano.
That is so wild, dude. It really is kind of wild that he's coaching Carolina, dude.
Yeah.
Might as well be Fairfield Ludlow.
Yeah, seriously.
But geez, dude. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting, dude. I mean, I don't know. I kind of hate that sentiment that a lot of people are talking about, how like defensive-minded head coaching is like not not wanted as much.
It all comes down to who the offensive coordinator is.
Yeah.
And I think the problem is the top offensive guys are getting jobs, so they're not available to be offensive coordinators. And if they don't get hired, they're just sticking with their teams. They're not going to go. So it's like who you're supposed to get. Then you have to take a chance on somebody, and a lot of times take a chance on somebody and it doesn't work.
It sucks, dude.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you think we're gonna see? I mean, I guess there are. I mean, technically, I suppose Dan Campbell's a defensive-minded head coach, right?
Well, he played tight end,
right? But
so
isn't
I think he was a tight ends coach.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I mean, I could check it out.
I mean, do you think we're gonna see then a big like defensive-minded head coach be like dominant in the league, where he's like known for stout defense? Like why can't that be a thing?
I mean, it can be, but it's just like you think around the league. Like obviously, Bulls is defensive minded, and even though like they've won the division 4 straight years, he isn't seen as like one of the best coaches in the league. You know what I mean? Tomlin, defensive guy. And by the way, tight ends coach for
tight ends coach.
Yeah,
but why can't I be the defensive minded head coach and be like, I want the opposing team to score 10 points. That's it.
I guess just
right
but it's like you can have a great, but if you can't score, you know what I mean? It's like, what are we doing? And I could even run down the list here. So this is in alphabetical order by team. Jonathan Gannon, defensive head coach, Cardinals, 12-22. Raheem Morris, defensive head coach, 8-9. John Harbaugh, special teams coach. Sean McDermott, defensive head coach, 86-45. Probably the best example of that.
There we go.
And then let's see, offense, defense. D'Amico Ryans, 20-14. And let's see what else we have here. Todd Bowles, 27-24. Dan Quinn, 12-5, and that's it. So there's not like a, you know what I mean? Like
is that just because like at that point that's just like this is just how the league is? Like there's just gonna be high scoring no matter what sort of deal?
Yeah, and I think teams look at it as, they want the offensive head coach because they're the top offensive mind, and they're not going to get him on a coordinator level.
Right.
The only way they go defense, really, it feels like it's not even so much about the person's defensive philosophies or defensive track record, but probably the biggest thing that they're looking at is just the culture. And I think that's why like Raheem Morris got the Falcons job, and I think Dan Quinn, honestly, with Washington. You know what I mean? Because he was really much maligned, especially getting canned, the collapse in the Super Bowl with the Falcons. But what he did with that Dallas defense for 3 years was nothing short of tremendous. So I think that was the thought process, for Josh Harris when he bought the team. This is a culture guy. Let's do it. But it's interesting with Gannon, with the Cards. I know Murray is kind of the problem there. It feels like anyway, but it seems like he's not for long, So be interesting to see, what happens. And it's interesting, too. McDermott seemed like a guy that could be, shown the door. Struggles at times last couple of years, but obviously strong season this year. But I think there still is a lot of pressure. And who knows? I mean, he's 86-45, but only 5-6 in the playoffs. If it was like the craziest thing ever and Denver wins that game, that actually could come up, even though his record is really good. But it's like, how long are you going to keep somebody with Josh Allen and then just not get over the hump?
Yeah, very true. That'd be kind of wild.
Yeah, it would be. And you would think if that did happen that they would just go right to Brady because Allen's had some of his best, seasons.
Yeah, true.
And it's crazy, this story. We saw, we talked about the Tyreek Hill interview, but supposedly their general manager, Chris Greer, that is, of the Dolphins, said that he never requested a trade during the meeting with the team this week. But maybe it's just because it's a couple of things. I think one, maybe he didn't because it's like, well, you know how I feel, first of all. And number two, he might just be completely lying because he's a leverage situation.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely, dude. Yeah. That's so weird.
But yeah, I have a tough time thinking he's going to stay there. So
no, he's definitely not. There's no way, dude.
Yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much all we got for football, and we'll talk of course more tomorrow, and definitely Friday will be wild card weekend themed. What were you gonna say, Tony?
Well, I was gonna say it's kind of a shame about Hill. Not gonna lie, dude, because I don't know. I kind of thought he would be able to kind of turn his career around a little bit, at least in terms of like the negative connotations around his attitude and personality. Instead, he's jumping ship.
Do you think Kansas City takes him back?
No, they don't need him.
Zach?
I'm gonna go with no. Just based on the way he left.
Yeah.
And based on what he's doing now, like saying I'm out, bro, in an interview is just kind of crazy.
Yeah, kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
I think they're just fine without him. So yeah.
And then sorry, were you
I was gonna say Michael Theophil, karma for Hill. He says, "Don't beat your wife and kids."
Yeah, I mean, can't.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously. Again, it is kind of weird because the whole him getting arrested this year for the ticket or whatever outside of the stadium. But I don't know. I saw that and he was like very cooperative and absolutely and like stood up for the cops. Like, oh yeah, did the job, whatever, dude. And I was like, oh, it's like a nice turning a new leaf moment for Tyreek Hill. Like maybe but obviously it's all down the drain now.
And also, I guess we missed a couple from Michael.
Yes.
He says, just look at the Jets the last 40 years. That's what a defensive-minded head coach does to an organization because their ego gets in the way and doesn't let the OC cook, which is very interesting. And I guess, actually, I was just thinking before we move on here, just because while we have you here, Zach, Tony doesn't like to talk too much college. What are your thoughts on the semifinals tomorrow and Friday here?
It's Penn State and Ohio State, correct?
It's Penn State and Notre Dame, Ohio State, Texas. And the game tomorrow is between Notre Dame and Penn State. Notre Dame, 1.5-point favorite. They're the Orange Ball coming from Miami Gardens, Hard Rock Stadium.
The Orange Ball.
That's their ball.
I like Notre Dame tomorrow, just based on last game. I think beating Georgia was a big step. I know a lot of people wouldn't agree because, they had their backup in and everything.
Right.
But I think beating any SEC team that has run the gauntlet like Georgia has the last few years, I think that's really impressive. So I do like them over Penn State. Yeah. And
you think a close one or no?
Yeah, definitely. I think Penn State is, they were one of the best teams in the Big Ten, so they're definitely going to pose a challenge. But I think Notre Dame will probably win in the end. Yeah.
I think too the toughest thing to ignore, and obviously we know, they won last round of the playoffs here, but Penn State, big spot. James Franklin. Yeah. And I know you could say the same about Notre Dame, but it just feels like Marcus Freeman, the last couple of years, really elevated himself to one of the top coaches in the country.
Yeah, I think he's a great leader for them.
Yeah.
And honestly, I just think in terms of for Notre Dame, it's very important to have that because I think, watching them growing up, there were big games that they couldn't win.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was because of coaching or play, but I could definitely see them in the championship. Them winning is a different story because I'm really high on Ohio State, but yeah.
I would think it'll be a good game if we get that.
Yeah.
But and then also Penn State too. I mean, you play SMU and Boise.
Yeah, those aren't really.
It's a different thing.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Ohio State, so I'm guessing you like them on Friday. They're 5.5-point favorites. Close game there, or do you think they pull away?
I think it'll be close, but I just think Ohio State's better. I think based on Texas's play over the last two games especially, they just make too many mistakes down the stretch. I mean, the Arizona State game is a great example of that.
God.
You just can't let a team back into a game like that. So I I really do like Ohio State. Like you said, Smith is unbelievable. I didn't know much about him either, but I really do think he's the best player in college football right now. I mean, it's pretty evident. And whoever drafts him is going to be very lucky. But yeah, so I do think Ohio State will win it all. I think it's going to be closer than people think, but Texas, like I said, I don't see it for them.
And it's funny, my buddy Mark, he's a big Ohio State fan, and going into the playoffs, literally it was like there was some college basketball games at MSG, and he didn't care. He wanted to go see them, missed part of the start of the game, and already before the whole thing started, just because of the Michigan game, wanted to fire Day.
Yeah, and I could see that. I mean, I was honestly kind of skeptical of Ohio State having a home game in the first round just because the fans were so upset. And I thought they would, start to turn on them pretty quickly if they went down early. But, yeah, I mean, I could see why people feel like that. I mean, Michigan has owned them the last few years, so it's been in the Ryan Day era. So I could see it, but I think right now he's putting them in the best position to succeed. So
yeah. What a quick turnaround from that game that wasn't really that long ago. Now there's just a different perception. So yeah, and we'll talk more about the semifinals tomorrow. But if we could switch gears here and go to the world of the National Hockey League.
McDavid shoots, top shelf, he scores! Captain with the overtime winner! That's the middle, great hit, Cameron. That's a world-class hit right here. Tomsky stepping, Rick Washington made the full split save.
Are you kidding me?
Turn, side of the net, between the legs, and they score! Filthy! David Pasternak, the silver trophy to the Golden Knights!
All right. So unfortunately, another tough one. Really, I mean, when it comes down to it, it feels like a epic collapse last night for the Rangers as they fall 5-4 in overtime to the Stars. And I made the comparison. They were up 3-0, ended up closing the gap to 3-2. The Stars did by the end of the first period. But to the whole thing, Tiger Woods playing the Masters, couple holes, he's a couple under par through 5. And the next thing you know, you look up and he's making the turn and he's 4 or 5 over par. That's what it felt like with this game. I unfortunately, I just followed along on my phone, was at Sam's last night. So didn't actually get to watch it. And I know you did in its entirety, Tony. But I mean, other than obviously just it being an unacceptable loss, I mean, what stood out to you from this game?
Well, I mean, not for nothing, Brian. I mean, at the beginning, a lot of good stood out to me, dude.
Were you out of your seat?
Yeah, I was out of my seat, dude. Yeah. We were in here, set up for bench buddies, whatever, to have the game on. And, Lafreniere scores, seemingly like 3 minutes later, you see Trocheck, and then another 4 minutes go by, and then Lafreniere again. And it's like everything was going well, it seemed. I mean, the offensive rush the Rangers were putting on, I mean, was pretty significant. It seemed like the Stars really couldn't really defend well against what the Rangers and how well they were skating. They were moving the puck so well, finding opportunities in space in front of the net, and taking advantage and obviously scoring. And I mean, especially from my perspective, who was looking for Vinny T to come up big, I was freaking amped, dude. And but then, I mean, I really just don't know what happened. It just seemed like an entirely different team started playing halfway through the first period. And again, it kind of, it's about what I was saying before. It's just like almost like a lack of communication you see between these players on the ice, where it's just like and a lot of it, honestly, I think was happening even, on these offensive rushes. They were making some stupid turnover. And all of a sudden there's, like I said, like a 3-on-2 or a good Dallas Stars rush going the other way. And then it's like they score one, all of a sudden Rangers on their heels, and then they're, give up a power play goal. It's 3-2, and it's a brand new game. Like Dallas Stars are in it right away. And, especially against a team like the Stars, and especially right away in the first period, you can't you can't let a team just crawl back into the game like that. You know, you gotta at least hold that lead for the rest of the period. You know, make them think in the intermission that they have a lot of problems. The Stars, you know, instead the Stars go into that first intermission with all the momentum in the world, come out in the second period, tie it up. And, you know, again, it's just like the entire different team. And then that's when you start seeing, you know, maybe the Rangers resort back to what they've been doing over the past couple months, where you're seeing these dumb turnovers by Zibanejad. Keandre Miller gets pickpocketed, ends up giving up a goal because of that. And it's, I mean, I guess, you know, you want to be like, oh, third period, Vinny T, power play goal, that's great. But obviously, at the end of the day, you know, 5 minutes later, you give up a goal, tie it up, and then you end up losing it in overtime here on the power play again. I think they had 4 power plays. The Stars were 2 for 4 in the power play last night, I think. Either 2 for 4 or maybe 2 for 3. Regardless, especially in overtime, like, what the hell is Panarin thinking by committing a hooking penalty? You know, against the Stars, who were great on the power play all game long. And then it's just a 4-3, you know. So to defend in a 4-3 is so tough, dude. Especially in extra time when you're tired, and then these Stars players have so much freaking space because there's only 7 guys out there on the ice. It's tough. I mean, that's what's gonna happen. An overtime loss. I mean, obviously, you know, if I'm looking at this game and if it's a regular season by the Rangers, you think, oh, tough overtime loss against the Stars. That's all right. It's overtime. That shit happens. Stars are a great team. But you needed this win in the absolute worst way. And like I said, to go up 3-0 and then evidently blowing it, dude, and only scoring 1 more goal over 2 periods. I mean, that is incredibly embarrassing. Laviolette was absolutely fucking tight last night, post game, rightfully so. And there's really, like, I know, you know, we talk about Laviolette being on the hot seat, but you can't look at this game and say this is a coaching problem, okay? This is a players on the ice problem. And it really is just ridiculous. And there's so much dejection going on in the locker room. And it's just not good, dude. Nothing. They're really. I mean, again, you can think about the takeaways. You scored 4 goals against a great Dallas Stars team. That's great. You got a point, I guess, because of the overtime. But at the end of the day, dude, you can't lose this game. You know, I mean, you really can't. I mean, I think they have Jersey coming up. I think the Devils coming up
tomorrow.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you're gonna do. I mean, you play a great game like this against the Stars, lose. You play a great game against the Panthers a couple days ago, you lose. Like, you can't if you can't put together, you know, 60 minutes of good hockey. Like what are we doing? You know. I mean, I really think that it's time. And again, I'm not saying blow it up, but I'm just saying, like, at least have answers. You know. Like, I want to hear specifics. I want to hear, like, a plan moving forward, you know? Again, if I'm looking at this and I'm guessing, because, you know, obviously by no means am I in the locker room with this one, but by no means am I, you know, having the mindset of Chris Drury. But if I'm, you know, looking at these past few games and their performances, you know, we need better defense all around. Even from forwards, you know? I mean, the forwards can't be giving up turnovers and they're not back-checking. Like you said, there are times where we've seen it. We've broke it down here over the past couple months. You look at some of these goals given up, and there's guys standing around. There's 2 Rangers on 1, you know, opposing player. And it's like, why are we doing that? Obviously, these players have to fucking communicate on the ice and not have an open man in the slot who just rips him one time and you give him a goal. You know, you can't be doing this, dude. You got to figure out a way to communicate on the ice. I mean, there's going to be teams like the Stars who, you know, have, you know, significant offensive strategies and plays drawn up to infiltrate good defenses, and you have to be able to defend against that. And I mean, like I said, you know, we can sit here and point out individual players, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's the guys still on the ice, like Panarin, like Trocheck, that you have to figure out a way to rally them. Because I mean, this is a tale of 2 different teams in the same game.
Yeah, and obviously at the end of the day, just unacceptable. And as fans, everybody's getting frustrated, and you really want to get to the bottom of it. One thing here from Tommy, he says, despite the Rangers' struggles, let's send some prayers, positive vibes for John Giannone, who was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and obviously that's terrible news. So of course, thinking of him and his family, and wishing him a speedy recovery.
Absolutely.
Yeah, true professional, and has worked for MSG for a while.
Great voice.
But yeah, I mean it's tough. I think what was it? The game. I don't know if it was against. I think I asked you this against Washington. I want to say, or was it yesterday or Washington where I asked you about the confidence level going into the game, and you were saying 50%. I want to say that was Washington.
Yeah.
Okay, so seeing what we've seen since them, looking at this game tomorrow, what's the confidence level? Devils obviously played well. Markstrom.
Yeah, saves of the night, dude, and the other day they did break their 4-game losing streak against Seattle. That's a team that seemingly this year at 25-15-3, they get the job done. They step up when they need to, and they know they definitely always need to against the Rangers, no matter how good or bad the Rangers are doing. And not for nothing, Brian. I mean, we played them twice already and lost, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think we've been outscored 10-1, I think, or something like that. So, I mean, that's not really conducive to a high level of confidence from me. So I don't know, man. Maybe a 33%. Give them a third chance of winning this game. I mean,
I hate to say it. I mean, especially after a loss like this. I would say maybe for me 10 is a stretch.
Right? I mean a 3-0 lead in the first period. How is any lead safe for the Rangers? It's not.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I mean, I'm not gonna throw Jonathan Quick under the bus a little bit, or at all, I guess. But I mean, I would be interested to see the outcome of this game if we had Igor in net.
True.
I mean, this is one of the better teams in the league, and you are facing. They were facing our backup tender. And listen, I don't, Jonathan Quick, I love that guy. Obviously, he's one of the best backup tenders in the league to have. Not even just because of his experience, but because of his high level of play he still maintains. But, you still have that question in the back of your head. If Igor was healthy right now, would that contribute, honestly? And, I mean, I know you had alluded to maybe Kreider being a locker room problem, but, I mean, his back problems have been something that's been somewhat reoccurring over the past few years. So, I mean, again, if he was in the lineup, I mean, he was contributing. He did score, I think, against
Washington?
Chicago.
Oh, Chicago. Okay.
So, I mean, again, he's a man who can contribute on the score sheet. Maybe if he is in the lineup too, and not to mention third period, I believe we had Filipino exit after the second period.
I did see
upper
that.
body injury, and then that was one of the more offensively capable players on the team who was contributing. So again, I mean, and then not to mention, you don't replace him, then all of a sudden now you're working with 19 guys, you're working with one less forward you have to deal with. So again, I mean, you can say it's kind of like this perfect mixture of problems yesterday. But obviously there still are going to be, the overwhelming, issues that the Rangers have been facing. So, I mean, do I have an answer for you? No, I don't have an answer for you, but that's because I'm not the fucking GM of the team. He should have the goddamn answer, okay?
Right. No.
Where the fuck is he?
Yeah. No. I mean,
like what?
Yeah. I mean, it's just not what you want. That's for sure. And I'm almost thinking with the upcoming West Coast road trip, maybe that we see, even though it could be bad, but maybe it also provides a spark that we could see spicy pork tomorrow.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, I know it's not like, oh, no, that's going to fix everything. But I'm just saying, also, just because of the travel and everything, I can see them doing that, no?
Yeah, no, I can see them doing that as well. And again, I'd be curious to see how Jonathan Quick feels.
Yeah.
I know it's not like he's been playing, like a ton of games right now. It's still early, I guess, for, from Igor's injury. But, you never know with him. I mean, he could, not be 100%, Jonathan Quick.
Yeah.
I mean, not for nothing. He's been giving up a lot of goals recently.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Washington, obviously last night as well. Florida too. Not Florida. Was it Florida? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
In any case, I mean, obviously, listen, the bad defense. I'll make the same, observation when Igor's in net. He has no defense. He has bad defense in front of him. So I mean, it is what it is. I think that's just what you have to fix. You have to fix that defense. Got to fix that defense, Brian.
Yeah. No, you couldn't be more correct about that, Tony. Oh, and I guess it was against the Bruins he played well. Quick. Other than that,
Would he give it 1 goal?
Yeah. Other than that, though, it hasn't been. And speaking of the Bruins, they get shut out 4-0. So kind of ironic. I go against the Oilers. They shut out the Bruins on the road. Stu Skinner. I think there's a new level of respect for you there. Adam Henrique with 2 goals.
Love that veteran.
And McDavid also getting on the score sheet as well. So Oilers now 25-12-3. Bruins 20-18-5. The Red Wings win again. So maybe, a little lightning in a bottle here with the interim coach. 3-2. Patrick Kane, the game winner, seemed like he's had some type of renaissance since he left the Rangers. So they're 18-18-4. Senators 19-17-3. The Blue Jackets in a shootout. 4-3 Marchenko, the game winner there.
Good for them.
And Raquel, I did mention him. I think I was saying hat trick for Raquel. He ends up having 2 goals, which is kind of ironic. And then Voronkov, which I'm sure Tommy will correct me on, also had 2 for Columbus. The Lightning bounced back 3-2.
If Tommy knows how to pronounce Voronkov over there, whatever it is,
let us know.
That would be kind of crazy. I mean, a random left winger on Columbus. I mean, good for Tommy if he's got that depth.
He's watching the juniors, the prelims. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Lightning 21-15-2 after the 3-2 win over the Hurricanes. Braden Point, the go-ahead goal there. So the Hurricanes have dropped some games recently. Now 24-15-2. Tighter than we expected, but the Maple Leafs do win in Philadelphia 3-2. And despite Konechny having 2 goals for Philadelphia, what is it again?
Konechny.
It's such a weird name. Konechny?
Yeah.
Okay, Konechny.
You can if you sound it out.
Yeah.
Connecticut.
Just a weird name. Like, who has that name? But anyway, 27-13-2 for Maple Leafs. Flyers fall to 17-19-5. The Wild, as we expected, bounced back 6-4 at home over the Blues. And, this was a game going into the third period. They're down 4-3 and then, scored the 3 unanswered there. So they improved to 26-11-4, 11-8-1 at home. The Jets, another one that we expected. That line was so finicky. I took it anyway and had gotten beat. I forgot it was the Canucks against the Predators. But I think the thing with the Predators against the strong elite teams, you're safe on taking them. It's just the weaker teams they win sometimes. But Hellebuck, 26 of 28 in net. 5-2 the Jets win. So now they are 28-12-2. One of the best teams in the whole league. We had an overtime game in Anaheim, a heartbreaker for the Ducks, as they lose 3-2, and I guess in overtime. But I guess they said Trouba had an unlucky ricochet, which would have won the game for the Ducks, which is kind of ironic.
That is tough, Trouba.
So the Flames hanging in there, 19-14-7. Hoover Dow had a goal in this one as well. Ducks 17-18-5. Last game of the night, the Knights do win. We both thought the Sharks there, but 4-2.
I gotta stop listening to you.
28-9-3 are the Golden Knights again. One of the better teams in the league. And that was all we had on the ice last night. Tonight, a smaller slate. Looks like we got 4 games.
That's right.
A doubleheader on TNT. Avalanche Blackhawks at 7:30. And then the Panthers and the Utah Hockey Club at 10 o'clock. And then you also have the Capitals hosting the Canucks at 7:30 and the Kings hosting the Flames at 10:30. So that being said, I think it would be appropriate to do a Wednesday edition of the Frozen Frenzy.
Let's freaking go, people. It is a hump day frenzy. And we're starting off a little bit later than usual, 7:30 p.m. And we're going east meets west over here as the Canucks are going to Washington, dude. The Capitals here are -190, as you could imagine. Over under is 5.5. Obviously, the big deal with the Canucks is, obviously their goaltender out. I don't know if Quinn Hughes did come back.
I thought he did.
I thought he did too. ESPN sucks with the IR stuff sometimes. It says January 8th, and I'm like, was he not playing? Regardless, the Canucks are on a 2-game losing streak. Just lost to Montreal in overtime. That's a tough one right there. But the Caps just lost to Buffalo in a shootout, dude. Capitals here, Brian, looking for bounce back?
Have to bounce back. Canucks, it just in shambles. I don't know if it's a variety of injuries, that they've had here. But yeah, I like Washington, and I kind of think in a big way. I think that was a tough loss to have. And really, 2 out of their last 3 games, they've lost 4-3 in a shootout. So you'd expect a team that's 26-10 bounce back. I'm going to say Ovechkin, 2 goals and an assist here. Tom Wilson laying some big hits here against Vancouver. Let's say Washington 5-2, Washington in the over.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, does Vancouver have the personnel to go on a little bit of a run even without Demko? I mean, yeah, of course, but not against the Capitals and not in Washington. Capitals 13-4-3 at home here. I know Canucks good away record, but regardless, we put that to the side here. And, yeah, dude, I mean, I do think Caps to bounce back. Alex Ovechkin, I like the call there. Guy who's obviously hot this year, but off the score sheet in their last game, off of the shootout sheet as well. I don't know how about that, but I say that's his 20th goal of the year tonight. And a good team win here. I say Caps win this one 3-1. Caps and the under, dude. Next game, we're going to go to Chicago. Still 7:30. This is a little bit of a TNT HBO Max show here as the Blackhawks take on the Avalanche. Oh boy, Brian, I don't know. This one could get ugly, dude. Chicago plus 200 at home. Obviously, we know the level of their roster and what their record has been all year long. But what you know, dude, the last time these two teams faced back in October, Brian, Chicago wins 5-2. Obviously, that was Colorado going through the goaltending problem, lack of offense, lack of defense. Obviously, since then, they've been killing it. 25-15-1 record, winning 4 of the last 5. What do you see here?
I think they win 5. Let's say 5-1. So we'll go with the Avalanche and the under. And yeah, they did lose that last game, but completely different team. And Chicago seems to really be going through it. So I think they easily take this one. And I'm thinking of laying the 240. We'll see. But give me the Avs and the under.
I couldn't agree more here. I mean, it is kind of crazy how the Avs have turned their season around. It just really goes to the testament of that organizational depth. Rangers beat the Blackhawks 6-2, which was the Blackhawks' last game out, and I say that is the exact score of this game, and that'll be the 4th game out of 6 the Blackhawks lose 6-2. So give me Avs and the over, dude. Here. Next game, we are going to go to my computer to load Utah, dude. UHC takes on the Panthers here at the Delta Center in Salt Lake. You can imagine Florida favored, but not by much. Minus 135 here. It's interesting. Over under is 5.5. First time these two teams are facing each other this year. Panthers, we mentioned on a little bit of a Schneider, losing to Colorado 3-1 last time out, and they're losers of 3 of the last 5. Obviously, the hockey club doesn't do any better at all than that. But you would think maybe Panthers reset tonight?
Yeah, it's interesting. The line is very similar to the line we saw with the Jets and the Predators last night. And I'm actually torn between which of these games I'm going to take, whether I lay the 240, because it seems more of a sure thing. But then this game, less, you have to lay less. But it's like, are the Panthers going through it? But then again, they can't beat Utah. So that's why I lean Panthers in a big way in this one. I think this is definitely, a get-right spot. And Utah's hung in there, but I think Florida, the experience on that team will be too much to handle. I think they win, not as decisive as you would think, just given the way their scoring's been inconsistent. But I'm going to say they win 3-1. So give me the Panthers in the under.
I agree here with the Panthers. I think Panthers are going through something right now. But I mean, if they were playing a better team, maybe they would lose. But Utah, I mean, if they were playing a team like Colorado or Carolina or even Montreal, who's heating up right now, I could see them losing. But against Utah, who are losers of 4 of their last 5, showing no signs of life, I don't think it'll happen tonight for Utah. It could, but give me Panthers, chalk, and I'd say it would be decisive. I'm thinking like 4-0, Bobrovsky, fucking Stanley Cup. Okay, dude? So give me Panthers and the under for that one. Last one here, okay? 10:30, West Coast, late night, ESPN Plus, baby. The Kings take on the Calgary Flames here. Crypto.com. The Kings, very interesting line, honestly, at minus 230. Heavily favored against Calgary, which is kind of wild, especially since the Flames beat the Kings early November 3-1. Nonetheless, the over-under is 5.5 here. Kings are on the 4-game winning streak, beating great teams like Tampa, like Jersey, like Edmonton. Flames, who loses of 3 of the last 5. What do you got, dude?
Yeah, so I am definitely, surprisingly, going to go with Calgary. And it almost seems like Vegas trap. Oh, the 230's high. Calgary's won before, this and that. But the Kings have won 4 in a row. And I just don't think we're going to see a complete chalk night. I could be wrong. All the other matchups seem chalk. Even though the Kings are better, and maybe far better, 14-2-1 at Crypto.com. Pretty impressive stuff, Tony.
Yep.
But yeah, give me Calgary. Tight game on the back-to-back as well. But I'm going to say they win 3-2. Hubert Dow kind of having that resurgent year. Game winner, overtime. Calgary and the under.
I'm going to go with the Kings here, Brian. Okay, they're the hot team. And I know I was big on Quinton Byfield, obviously Kopitar, whatever, dude. But, they did waiver our guy Arthur to bring up their guy Kyle Burrows, the defenseman, who's been playing okay. But nonetheless, dude, I think he's going to net his first goal here tonight, dude. He's going to have a great game, 1 goal, maybe like a +3 on the ice, like maybe 2 blocked shots, 4 hits, dude. A solid contribution to LA here. He's hyped to be playing for them. And I say because of that, the Kings here, I'm going to say the Rangers, goddamn. The Kings go on to win this one. I'll say 4-1. So that's Kings and the under, dude.
And just like that, that is your Wednesday Frozen Frenzy.
That's a good one. Good matchups.
Yes, good matchup, solid. And if it was up to you, and it was coming out of your pocket, would you feel better about the minus 135 against Utah or the 240 with Colorado? I'm leaning the Colorado almost, even though it's a lot more. It just feels like they're more of a lock just because Florida has been finicky lately.
I mean, not going to lie. I mean, well, actually, if I'm trying to bet for value here.
But what good is the value
if they don't win?
No, but I'm saying, isn't it more likely, though,
it is
that
definitely
Utah
more likely
wins than Chicago?
But no, it is more likely. It's going to be ugly for Chicago tonight. But I think, I guess I would take that then if I want to be safe.
You would go with Florida.
No, if I want
to go to Chicago,
if I want
go to Chicago.
Yeah, if I want to be safe, I'd bet on the Avalanche.
Okay.
But I think there's more value for the Panthers. I still think the Panthers will win tonight.
Yeah, no, I'm expecting it as well. But you never know with these hockey games.
That's true. That's true.
So yeah, just a couple things here to finish out. One note in baseball, really the only news we got yesterday. Verlander, 1 year, $15 million to the Giants. I thought he was going to retire. I guess Houston didn't want him back. I think he had a 7 ERA last year, but they're expecting the bounce back. To me, I feel like he's cooked, and it speaks to desperation of the Giants, who, again, have struggled to bring in free agents for a while, and I think that has to do, with kind of the living scenario over there in San Francisco. As well as for hitters, I think the ballpark for pitchers is attractive, so maybe that's why Verlander wanted to go there. Obviously, the division is a gauntlet.
It is.
Any thoughts here, fellas, on that signing?
I like it. I'm not going to lie. 1 year, $15 million.
No risk.
No risk. Nothing crazy. Honestly, I think the Mets should have signed him and put him in the bullpen.
Wow.
That's what I think should happen, dude.
ERA this year, let's say. ERA and number of starts made for Verlander this year.
I say... I don't know, man. I feel like he can put another year out there, dude, where he gets 30 starts.
30? Wow,
let's say
okay.
Like a full season. Let's go, dude. And his ERA, I think it'll be below a 4, honestly.
High threes.
Yeah, like a 3.8, 3.7.
Okay.
I think he's got some left in the tank, dude.
What do you think, Zach?
I honestly think it's a pretty harmless signing. You know what I mean? Like, you're not really. It's $15 million. Obviously, it's still a lot of money. But
do you think he makes the 30 starts and has a sub 4 ERA? Or you think I'm looking like an idiot?
That seems a little ridiculous to me, but
I think it really just depends on if he's able to stay healthy. That's
right, of course.
I mean,
and at 42, it's a wild card. Obviously.
17 starts the last season, 5.48 ERA.
So I mean, I don't know about 30 starts, but like I said, he's definitely older, but I feel like it's not too crazy of a deal given the fact that you're taking him on the risk, and you'll see if he can prove it again. But I would have liked the Mets to put him in the bullpen. I feel like once
Right?
again, it's the same deal. It's just like, why not give it a shot? But yeah.
That would have been freaking hilarious to see him back on the Mets, dude.
Yeah, but I'm sure he probably doesn't want to go to the bullpen.
There's no way he
hasn't
does.
done that.
No.
But I think he's excited. I think the ballpark may help him, but I think he's done. I just think the velocity, the strikeout stuff. I'm gonna say he makes 15 starts, so $1 million per start, and unfortunately for the Giants, I think his ERA at the best is gonna be like 4 or 5.
$1 million per start sounds great, dude.
Yeah, right. Who wouldn't want that? So yeah, that was the only baseball news, and still some big fish out there. We'll see. Also, I was asking Tony about this as we move along here. Still feeling like Alonso's going to come back, or is it one of those things where you just don't know?
Honestly, don't know anymore, and that's kind of what I was saying to Tony before we kind of talked about it. I mean, I just feel like I read something different every day about it. So, I mean, the hope is with the relationship that they have that he's leaning towards coming back to us, but I really don't know right now, just given the fact that, we've kind of put our money elsewhere, obviously.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I hope he comes back. I feel like if he doesn't, the fans are really going to be pissed off, and it's really going to kind of overshadow all the good that we've done, because I feel like he's the last piece that we need back. And also he's just a part of the team's identity. He has been since he debuted with us. So I want him back. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. And to me, it seems like they're going to come to a compromise, short-term, higher annual value, the opt-out. It just seems like that's what's meant to happen. But who knows if the Mets end up pivoting? Boris, you never know, sticking his chest out.
Yeah,
right?
I guess so. I was talking, to Zach before the show, and I was watching some SNY last night. Some hot stove over there,
was it
dude.
Yastrzemski, CeeLo, and Licata, or no?
No. It was
Todd Zeal.
It was Zeal. Andy Martino was on, who was really reporting on most of the hot stove stuff. And he was saying that it's basically at this point a flip of the coin if Alonso's coming back.
Did he? I heard Boston is interested. I don't know if he said that.
Yeah, he did say that. It seems like a lot of teams are interested, actually, which is
probably because of the price.
I mean, not for nothing. I mean, makes sense,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not
power hitter.
Yeah, like Alonso's not a bad player, dude. Yeah, exactly. So, and he's a solid first baseman. So it's like, any team, especially the Red Sox, I would think would want him. So, and obviously you see what happens there, but it's kind of a little alarming, I suppose. Hearing some of his takes, dude, because it seemed like that they're out on Sasaki. It seems it's very unlikely.
I mean, the Dodgers basically might have already signed
him. Yeah, right.
Come on.
So
like it's
so
Sasaki
annoying,
to me is not even
dude.
worth a conversation.
Yeah.
Which is pretty annoying. But it's just what is annoying is just I feel like that, and we were saying this, like it's like every other day is a whole different story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so frustrating to try and follow this. This hot stove, but it's just like give me a fucking break, dude. And then you're telling me they're gonna go on Verdugo, which I think is nonsense.
No, but I just saw the thing. But yeah, that doesn't make any sense. But again,
doesn't make any sense.
They like to bring on guys that have played for the Yankees for whatever reason. Also,
Bregman unlikely for the Mets as well. He said.
Yeah, but likely for the Red Sox. I feel like.
Yeah, definitely.
Seems like that's the thought, but that would be something if they did get Bregman and Alonso. I mean, obviously you're betting on guys that are past 30 that seem like they're declining, but could bounce back. So
he said they're also not interested in Castillo for trades.
Okay, gotcha.
Which is like, why would you want to do that?
Yeah, no, that's true. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, there's some more baseball news because, like we said, it's been a little quiet. Hoping for a rise, but we'll see what happens for the Yankees. And then, I just wanted to mention UConn back on the court. Finneran Pavilion in Villanova, Pennsylvania. That's their on-campus arena. They also play at the Wells Fargo Centers from time to time.
Have you been to Villanova's campus?
No, but my cousin went there, and she, has followed the team, closely. I think even been to the Final Four when they've been there before.
That's awesome.
Big fan. They are, which I actually don't understand this. They're only 10-5, 3-1 in the Big East. They're actually favored by 1.5. Like I know McNeely's out, but I don't understand that. Isn't that kind of odd, Zach?
Are they even ranked?
No. And UConn, and again, this is insane. UConn is number 9.
Yeah. Get the fuck out of here, really?
Dude, isn't it nuts, though?
What's with the 9s, dude?
Like, it's not even us.
It's not even us. People are watching.
But to me, I mean, I guess it's like, I don't know if it's based on the fact that Villanova last time beat DePaul by 44, but it's DePaul. You know? I mean, UConn's been one of the hottest teams in the country, 8 straight wins.
Yeah.
What do they know that we don't?
Well, I mean, just McNeely's out, but I don't think, I mean, UConn is still a really good team without McNeely.
Yeah, I don't understand them being favorites, but I mean, you bet on UConn then. You know what I mean?
They don't allow you in state.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
they're
that's
trying
right.
to change
in
it.
state, yeah.
But do you think that UConn will win?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, maybe it's tight, but I
just
think they get the job done. Yeah, maybe too that line was based on that they only beat DePaul by 13 and they only beat Providence by 3 last time. So I don't know if they beat them by 9, like Michael Buckus says, but I'll say they win by 6. So that should be a good one though, and that'll be underway 6:30 on FS1. Also the Knicks are back in action. I think they've lost 3 in a row, and I know Towns didn't play last time out. But they lost to Orlando, who's missing their top 4 guys. Still 24-13, and I just think the biggest thing in that game is, and I know you had the other games before that, but they just didn't have Towns. But just listening to the last couple of days to New York radio, everyone's like kind of almost like bugging out, and I just feel like, you're missing Towns. He's your best player this year.
Yeah.
Things can happen, but I still think the Knicks are one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, no?
Yeah, I think they're the clear-cut number 2 in the East.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to be beating the Celtics, in that conversation. But I think everybody can chill out. They're just fine.
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
A lot of basketball left to be played. But,
and maybe we'll see an RJ Barrett tribute video at the Garden tonight as they play the Raptors. He's actually playing well for them. 23.5 points, 6.9 rebounds, 6.1 assists. Raptors, though, are 1-15 away from Toronto, 8-28 overall. Knicks, 11.5-point favorites here. I think they blow them out, honestly. And I think Towns, who is on my fantasy team, so I'm hoping for a big game, goes for 30-20, which would be something. So we'll see. That game, 7:30. You think they solve this whole Optimum thing anytime soon?
I don't know.
What's that about?
They took the channel off because MSG wants to charge too much.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I feel like that's a problem like across the board. Like
Yeah.
I have YouTube TV and like they don't have MSG on there, they don't have SNY, and I know like things are getting more exclusive with streaming, and cable, and all that. But
Gotham
it's like,
Sports app.
yeah, but it's like it just sucks because it's like I feel like I have to switch networks for certain things. Like I'm on YouTube TV right now, but I'll have to go back to Hulu for the Mets because that's the only streaming service that has SNY now. So I feel like I'm constantly jumping around to like fit with what sports I'm watching at what time. But so it sucks. But yeah.
And that seems to be the direction that this is all going.
Yeah.
Like I'm watching Prime for football on Thursdays, and then there's football on Netflix, and then there's games on Hulu. Like it's
one thing I'll say though, it does always work itself out, and I don't care, whatever ridiculous scenario you want to bring up, but for me, whatever it takes, like I'm always going to do what it takes to watch the Yankees.
No,
You know what I mean?
I understand that.
I don't care.
But
$1,000 a season, fine. Like I just want to watch the games. Like shut the fuck
$1,000 a
up.
game.
Yeah, done.
You can't do that.
Already signed up. So we'll see what happens there, and then a bunch of comments to get to before we close with the Prism Pack. And we'll start with Jacob W, who says,
"Oh wow, dude.
Is this someone you know?" By the way?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, he says, "Hey fellas, completely off topic, but just wanted to say, brother on the couch has an absolutely immaculate stash. He does comb it 3,000 times a day, so that might be why. And it's one of his biggest priorities in life. So it lines up. It lines up that he would say that. Tommy also says one thing that I do know is Trent Frederick is absolutely ragdolled Corey Perry. I didn't see that one.
I didn't see that either.
But Tommy didn't see the High Neighbor sticker just until now. I've got plenty of Gansets in the garage fridge. Narragansett.
You know what, Tommy? I got like 10 in the trunk of my car right now. Okay, buddy?
Go get them.
Yeah, go get them right now. Chuck them.
And then a few from Michael here. He's giving his rankings of the Eastern Conference. Cavs 1, Celtics 2, Knicks 3. Big game for Barrett tonight. He says, Knicks are definitely not a championship team. Tony knows it. No depth. Tibbs can't trust anyone but starters. They will run out of gas. And, yeah, I would agree. The only thing I would say is they haven't gotten to this point, but I will not be surprised if they get to the Eastern Conference, honestly, and not get embarrassed by the Celtics. I don't think they're going to the NBA Finals, but I think they're going to go to the Eastern Conference Finals.
It's interesting with the running out of gas thing because, I mean, obviously that's been like that's been like just Tibbs' thing. You know, it's like it doesn't matter what the score is, how much time is in he's playing his starters. I forget what NBA insider was on ESPN radio though, but he was saying how apparently the Knicks players don't mind that because they're saying how during practices are easy. Like they don't do a lot of conditioning in practice and a lot of harsh drills or whatever because they know, and Tibbs knows that he expects 100% for 100% of the game out of all of them. But I mean, is that really a conducive strategy though? Like at the end of the day, like I understand we're living in a time for the NBA where like load management is becoming almost a problem rather than like something that's better for the league. But I mean, I feel like he still could find like a happy medium, right?
Yeah, I would say too because this team, especially the it's top heavy, but that
teams need depth.
The top is very good. I mean, you'll get Robinson back eventually. But I think it's just get more guys. You could find guys, like basically what you're saying. So maybe they do that.
Injured, probably,
maybe it happens, but we'll see. And he says, yeah, they'll mind when they lose in the playoffs. There's never one other than being an assistant with the Celtics in 08. So we'll have to see, about that. But while we are already talking basketball, it is time for a Prism pack reveal. And what do we have for the label, Tony, for the Alan
great
Parsons
question, dude. I
project?
think it's Bulls, maybe?
Bulls theme
on
song?
On the soundboard. You check out the Bulls music. Maybe page 2 or 3. Page 3, perhaps.
I just feel like you can't do it without it.
We got to get like a good, maybe tomorrow. You got to dig deep for the Prism one. We need a new bite,
Oh,
we
yes,
need a real one.
Yeah.
Also, dude, I noticed like some guy commented that these aren't prisms, they're mosaics.
Panini
mosaics.
Interesting. Okay. So the mosaic. The mosaic. Good to have some variety though. Why not? Right?
Hey, listen, man. Hell yeah, dude. Maybe they're worth more money. Let's fucking go, dude. And we got some of those cool. The city card of Jokic is pretty sick, dude. Did you find the music?
Bulls song.
Yes,
that's gotta be it. Strike it up,
go,
baby.
Zachary. The mosaic pack reveal. So Tony can chop that one up later. But looking for a strong pack. Let's see what we got here. 6 cards incoming. What will we start with today? All right. So first up, we just actually had his brother the other day. Number 5, Tyus Jones. So a solid player for sure. A grizzled vet around NBA circles, and obviously Trey's older brother. Coming up, number 2 here. How about his teammate, Kyle Kuzma? So the former first-round pick of the Los Angeles Lakers. From the Portland Trailblazers, Matisse Thybulle. So a defensive juggernaut, a Tony favorite. We know that for sure. And how about from the Detroit Pistons, a City Edition card, the rookie card, Asir Thomas. So maybe up and coming, part of that youth there in Detroit. 2 to go here. Definitely, I would say, is going to be the best of this pack from the Atlanta Hawks. He just hit the game-winning 50-footer last night. Trae Young. So that is always a solid card to get. Number 11. And this is an NBA debut card, and I know this name from fantasy basketball. From the Miami Heat, Jamie Jaquez Jr. And just like that, that is your mosaic pack reveal. And Michael also says Prism is top. Haha, mosaic pack reveal. So interesting draw there. Some sleepers, but I think the Trae Young card, you love to see that. And then also the City Edition with Asir Thompson, I think will bode well as well. And it's kind of crazy. Only one pack to go here. But then I'm sure more on the way. Possibly some hockey on the way.
Yeah, dude. Mike and I gotta get on that. Because I'm fucking, I'm
you're gonna be
obviously hockey and more jacked for, and fucking Trey Young.
Absolutely. Okay, dude. So yeah, I mean that's really what we got. I guess the only thing I was gonna ask you, a couple of things about tonight's next edition of Gaming Corner.
Yeah.
First, what are we thinking ETA wise for start time?
I think we do dinner at 6.
Dinner at 6.
And then when we're done eating, I'll set it for 7. But when we're ready, we'll just fucking go, dude.
And then what are we thinking? What
to start?
Game to start out with?
It's very interesting. I think we go Madden to start out again.
Yeah. You're
that,
ready
dude.
for it. You want your redemption.
I do want the redemption.
One thing I was gonna say, and I don't know if I'm simplifying it too much, Tony, but I just feel like with you, like I know you could do it because especially because you've dominated a lot the cart, dude, and like you're very like adaptable, and I just think it's like a very simple approach. Obviously the running, you don't have to run it 35 times a game, but also it's like, especially with Madden, it's like you can't throw it deep or into traffic unless the guy's wide open. So it's all just short, intermediate routes, and the guy has to be open. If he's covered, you just don't throw it, and that's it.
Yeah. Very true, dude.
I'm predicting you're gonna play your best Madden of your career tonight.
Thank you, dude. But yeah, I'm pumped, dude. Jeff in studio too. That's gonna be sick. We put him on to Chell the last time he was here.
Okay.
And he's not good, so.
An opportunity for myself.
Yes, I think you'll be playing some of the best Chell of your life tonight.
So looking forward to that. But yeah, here we are, and it's another great show today, and great job by Zach. Good to have him back.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And Tony, as always, but that goes without saying, of course. But yeah, and thank you to everyone for tuning in and continuing to comment, like, and subscribe. All of the archives on the YouTube page, Tony, Michael, Renee, and Jay in costume merch at downtimetv.com. Want everybody to enjoy the day, enjoy the games, enjoy Gaming Corner, and we will see you mañana.
And we are.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.